me, how's it hanging? How's it happen? You guys notice this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. The podcast from Song Magazine describes as the one that initiates profound discussions with rock and metal artists, allowing fans to cover the creative workflow of their favorite musicians and understand the factors that make the band succeed or fall from fame. We are all sponsored by Dark Fusion Systems, the best for your custom computing needs. Get $100 off your Temporary Gold CP pod at Dark Fusion Systems. Links to the podcast below. Please go to millionpodcast.com where they rank the top metal podcasts in the world. Out of 100, you want to know where the Chord Progression Podcast ranks? 10th. Yeah. I'm in the top 10, but I want that gold, so we're going to keep rolling. But in metalcore, we're number 2. I still want that number 1 spot, but we're getting there. So please help support us. Please keep listening. Please subscribe. All that good stuff. I want to thank you for all that. Let's go to our featured presentation. And if this episode doesn't get us to number 1 on the metalcore side, I don't know what is, because this is single-handedly, in my mind, the most in-depth and insightful episode of a podcast I think we have ever done with an artist. Timo is back. He's of Alleviate, but this time with his band Our Mirage. They got a brand new album called Fracured Minds coming out on January 30th. We not only talk about how the band went viral and kept it going, we also talk about the depths of this album as well. We talk about the emotional side of it. We talk about more in terms of, I already lost my train of thought, but we talk about a lot of great stuff here. However, if you're a local band or you're an up-and-coming band and there's something you need to learn about writing music and how to make sure it captures people's attention, Timo says something. I want to say it's around the 32 or 33 minute mark. That is just mind-blowing in the way of your thought process around music and what makes music great. It's incredible. I can't believe it, but see for yourself. Hear for yourself. You guys ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. Back in 2024, we brought this man the podcast with his band Alleviate and their record that came out in that year. That was one of our favorite records from 2024 as well. We still listen to it pretty much on the daily, especially if we're in the gym, which I kind of was this morning when we recorded this. So that actually worked out perfectly. But there's a different band that this man is a part of that I've always wanted to bring to the podcast. I've been waiting for my moment, and now that moment is finally here. With their 4th album, Fractured Minds, coming out on January 30th of the year 2026, they're bringing that absolute metalcore sound with a lot of ambience behind it. 10 songs for you to really dive into, and you're going to start out 2026 right if this is your first new album. If it's not your first new album, though, trust me, this is going to make sure it gets it right on track. So please welcome Timo from Our Mirage back to the podcast. So Timo, I got to say, welcome back.
Thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Dude, it's great to have you back. I mean, I haven't seen you in about a year and a half on this podcast. Just how's it been going the past year and a half for you, man?
Absolutely crazy. Like this year was insane, especially for Our Mirage. I don't know if you've noticed any growth in the band, but man, we've been going viral with a video on TikTok and Instagram, which reached over 80 million views in total. So our followers went from 16,000 on Instagram to almost 230,000 in just 6 months. So our monthly listeners on Spotify are way up there. So it's crazy, man. This year has been completely mind blown.
Okay, I remember seeing that video when I maybe had like 1 million views, but I had no idea that it was up to that amount and that the effect it had not only on your monthly listener count consistently over the course of 2025, but then the absolute growth of you guys on social media. I had no idea it was that enormous. That is gigantic.
Yeah. Man, it's insane. Like I would have never expected something like this to happen. I mean, I've been doing the social media stuff for a few years now for Our Mirage and Alleviate. But when you have that one video that is just going completely viral, and that's definitely viral with these numbers, it's insane, man. So many people like on the street are actually like coming to me like, you're the dude from the video. I've seen you on my feed, man. That's insane. It's crazy, like for real. That's still can't believe it.
Dang, you're starting to gain some celebrity status if you're getting stopped on the street. I mean, you're gonna
Absolutely.
have to, maybe get your own security detail at some point soon.
Oh, let's hope that that won't come soon.
Let's hope. But I mean, that's something that you always hear, bands try and get something like that. You always hear artists try and get something like that because you see the massive amount of positivity that not only comes to an artist or comes to a band, but then the overall growth of that artist's music, the overall growth of their overall goals and vision. Then we get to see them more often, especially on stage, playing larger shows. I mean, I still remember back in 2022 when Just Pretend by Bad Omens, when that song just went viral on TikTok, all right? Beginning of
Yeah.
2023 when Sleep Token went viral, and now seeing what they're doing. But when it came to this video, for you specifically, the one that went viral, what did you see that was different in that video that maybe made it go viral? And then what was your overall reaction as you started seeing the numbers just start to roll in of views and then follows and then consistently growing monthly listeners? Because again, that's something that you never really see on a consistent basis. It's a
Yeah.
very rare thing.
Absolutely. That's something very special. Well, basically, what we did, we played a big festival here in Germany, which is called Mainstream Festival. Like A Day to Remember played there, for example, Motionless in White, like all those big bands.
Mm-hmm.
So we had that one song released, which is called Don't Talk, featuring Chris of the band Dead by April. The song has been out for, I don't know, like 3 months already at that point, which was doing okay during that time, had like a good amount of streams. But for that festival, we thought, okay, we need to do something special. A friend of mine, he's a vocal coach. He's also coaching me with my vocals. He was there and he wanted to do the feature. And my idea was, okay, what if the guy is not coming like on the stage from the side like a normal person does, but just climbs up from the space between the crowd and the stage, when he just climbs up there, and then we act a little bit and are like, okay, he's trying to grab the microphone, and we're like, yeah, what the fuck are you doing here? Yeah, okay, let's see what you got. So, and then he takes the microphone and just instantly rips, because he's a vocal coach, he's insanely good, and then he just rips at screams, and it's just like insanely good, does the part, and everyone loves it. The crowd goes crazy. And we filmed that, and with some clever editing in the video that I did, with like zoom ins and zoom outs, and then like maybe writing something to certain situations to describe it a little bit better. The video was just I think like 48 seconds long, but that was everything that it needed, and we played the song Don't Talk, and everyone, yeah, went crazy. Everyone wanted to know which song it is, because it sounds like it could also be an anime intro, and they want this on their gym playlist and whatever. Yeah, I think the song and the video was like the perfect example of and mixture of good content, a good song, and a little bit of rage bait, because you could see when he was climbing up the stage, you could see the belt pack he had for the in-ear system. So everyone was like, "Oh, I saw that. I need to comment that." So we got like, I don't know, like 70,000 comments, over 2 million likes on it, and an insane amount of reshares, and yeah, like huge numbers. I mean, we posted the video on different platforms, of course, and the best one on Instagram was alone only at 40 million views, and then on TikTok we got another 20, then YouTube Shorts and everything, and everything together was way over 80 million views in total. That's insane.
That is absolutely insane, but you had the makings of a great video already from not only, you take a look at the song as well, and I was having to go through my notes and like, okay, let me find Don't Talk, let me see what I thought in there, because what you have in there specifically is that programming beat and that rhythm. It feels like you kind of should be on a dance floor without a care in the world, where you also feel at this, like, I think I put in there, you feel dangerous and confident in yourselves at the exact same time. So when people are saying, you know, I want this on my gym playlist, I'm curious about this song, you have something that is going to attach itself to so many different emotions for people that when they hear that song, it's going to be an earworm for them. So you already had that part of it. You definitely had the piece of it of the intrigue of, you know, okay, what's the story of the video? You having a guy climb up out of nowhere and making it seem like, you know, you guys are going to fight for the mic, and it's like, what the hell is going on? And it's something that just stands out as this is an incredible moment. But what you brought up too was, there has to be something in there too where it's going to cause people to bring up that comment. And even if it was something small of that piece of rage bait, you think about all the comments that come from there. Now you're seeing people that are talking about just the song itself, the act. You're seeing people talk about, oh my God, I see this. But all of those comments are just constantly recycling this video to other people that might be attached to these people that are commenting. People to have people's For You page because of the song, because of the style, or just because of the moment itself. And it just keeps working over and over. And you guys created essentially a moment, and you had so many different pieces in play that connected it all together. But it was something I think could have worked in a lot of different aspects, but it wouldn't have been as, you know, well received or as popular if it wasn't for the song choice you guys went with, because that song specifically from the programming side and the production side, it connects with so many different emotions that it's very easy for the masses to connect with.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with that, Matt. I think the song has something really special to it, especially the chorus. It's really soothing, I think, and it's easy to understand, like the melody, like, and then the chord progressions and stuff. When I showed it to my fiance, the song for the first time, she was like, "Oh, that sounds like Schlager." Schlager is like a German, genre that is, like a more older people listen to it, but it's insanely catchy, you know. But it has some aspects of it that's true, but that's just because it just, like, how do you say it in English? In German we say das geht runter wie Öl. It's easy to swallow. Let's say it like this.
It's very easy on the ears. It's like an earworm where it just gets into you and you just can't get rid of that feeling, or you can't get rid of that sound. It just gets stuck in your head.
Exactly. Like you hear it and you're like, oh, that's it. And I think we made the right decisions on many different levels. And following that, we surely had to keep the hype going. So we released another track, which is called Time Loss, on the new album. You've heard it, which is featuring Screamistry, which is the dude who featured in the video, like the vocal coach. And we used the video to the viral video again to promote the song, and it worked. And we went viral with that song as well. So it's. Yeah.
Even with Time Loss too, it's, again, I kind of think that you went the right route to go viral on that aspect right after what you did specifically with Don't Talk, because when people are going to listen to it, there's like a piece of an idea of mixing there that kind of has that EDM club style with an aggressive nature on top of it. Yes. So they're going to get that metalcore feel, but they're also going to get that connectiveness to the programming and the overall vibe that is like a step in the other, an adjacent step to Don't Talk, which really stands out. But overall, I never even thought about the Schlager part of it when it came to Don't Talk, because you are right. It is something that I've seen before. I've seen the, reviews on where people, especially in the younger demographic, are absolutely against it. The people that are older are absolutely for it. It is an earworm thing that just gets into your mind, gets into your brain, and you can't get rid of it. It's weird, but it's fun at the same time. And by mixing the idea that you had there in with Don't Talk, but having a much more of like a rock bass, anthemic, metalcore bass kind of feel, it adds to this overall connectiveness that is going to bring a lot more people in. But the key is not to bring more people into the song just because that part is there. The key is that part of the song going to mesh with the entire idea that you have put forward? And whether you did it, what you did on Don't Talk, whether it was the EDM club style kind of addition to Time Loss, it all worked out in a way where it was needed for that song to stand out the way that it did. It wasn't needed as a way to bring people in as like a kind of like a just like a, oh, hey, look at this, like a little token piece of something that's different.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy, man, to think about that. And then seeing the growth of the band overall beyond that. I mean, you brought up almost 250,000 followers just based off of that. It is wild to think that there are so many people that can get into a band just based off of one video or one moment, but it happens more. It happens I'll say it feels like it happens more often than not, because when it happens, we all see it and we get to enjoy it. And especially with the new record coming out now, you're going to get to see more people get into it. But I know you also did an EP come out in 2025 that had a number of songs from this album that were on there.
Yeah, well, that's not really like an EP, but it's a Waterfall release from A Rising Empire, which is like always put together as an EP.
Oh, okay.
And then later transforms into the album. So that's like a thingy that's, I think, only happening on Spotify. On the other platforms, it's a little bit different. You all already see the whole album, the numbers, and like which track order it is, and then it transforms into the album. But Spotify handles it a little bit different. So it's not a real EP, but more like the songs that are already released are together in one small playlist you can listen to. But later on, that transforms into the album. So, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense, because when I looked at it, it was I looked online to see what I could find, and it seemed like that was put together as an EP for Violent Spin right now, Fractured, Farewell, and Don't Talk. And then since the announcement of the album, it's God Behind Your Eyes and Time Loss were kind of put in there as songs that were not part of that Waterfall Collection EP. Because you're right, when you look at Spotify, you don't see it connected together like that. But if you go to somewhere like Apple Music, you see those 5 connected as an EP. But then when you look at the album, you see the full track list of all 10 songs. And then 7 of those 10 songs are showing as available to listen to. But what I'm curious about is, from your perspective, what was the purpose behind that Waterfall release? I mean, I'm curious to hear where you're coming from with it, especially if it's something that came from A Rising Empire.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You kind of have to do these days. You see it with Memphis May Fire, for example, as well. They've done it many times. I think the whole playlist game on Spotify ruined albums, because now you're really dependent on landing in big playlists to get the streams you want to have, you need to have, especially for smaller bands. I mean, if you're a band like I Prevail, Bad Omens, Sleep Token, whatever, you're not really dependent on the playlists. But at one point, they have been dependent on those playlists. And that's the exact spot where we are with Our Mirage right now. If you want to let your songs perform the way they deserve, you kind of have to release them all as singles. And also, if you don't release like early on, like let's say Farewell, for example, was the first single that's also on the album, which came early 2024 already. But we have to release songs on a regular basis. Otherwise, everyone will forget about us, because, you know, everyone's attention span nowadays with TikTok and Instagram is not very long. So that's the same with music. If you don't release for over a year, people will forget about you. Your numbers will drop a lot. And the numbers on Spotify are what most festivals and venue owners look at when they want to book you. They look at your Spotify monthly listeners and like, those numbers are not great, we're not going to book them. But you have to keep those numbers up, so you have to release singles and singles and singles, and songwriting takes some time. So you actually have to release those singles and put them all together as an album later on, because otherwise everyone will forget about you, and that's a little bit sad. But like, I understand that it's a little bit disappointing for people to listen to an album, but you already know 7 out of 10 songs. Um, uh, but I guess nowadays you can listen to everything on Spotify for almost for free. But if you want to buy an album, you're really supporting the band. Like if you buy it physically, I mean. Um, and most people don't listen to the album on the CD, so they just put it on the shelf and in its decoration, you know. But yeah, like these days, you kind of have to release single after single and then put them all together on an album, especially when you're a smaller band. Yeah.
That's understandable, and it's something that I know I've heard many a times here on the podcast. We've heard other people talk about it. We've heard other publications talk about it, but it's something that I always want to hear from the artist specifically, especially on here, just because I want to get that perspective from you, but I also want to make sure that the music lovers, music listeners that love this podcast get to also hear it from you directly as well. Yeah. I wish the album game was more prevalent than it is, because it does seem weird for me, especially as someone that really enjoys the album, to see all these songs already come out beforehand, and then by the time the album comes out, it's like I might get 1 or 2 new ones versus what I've already fully heard. Bringing up Memphis May Fire is a great example, because I know they did the Waterfall release on their last 2 albums, and leading up to the album, it was really cool still to see, because I'm like, okay, I'm getting new song, and it felt fresh. But then by the time the album came out, there was a piece of fatigue that kind of set in from a music listener standpoint, because now I really am like, I don't want to listen to this because I've heard everything. I just want to hear the new song or the 2 new songs that have yet to be released. But you make a lot of sense when you're bringing up the idea of, when you're not at the level of Bad Omen, Sleep Token, or I Prevail right now, Electric Callboy, bands like that, where they could release an album that has maybe 2 singles on it, and it's going to do well because people are so enthralled and attached to the band, so they can do it. But a band that's still trying to get there, it makes sense that you're playing that game of, we need to have the music come out on a consistent basis, so that by the time the full release is out, it's each song has that feel, each song has that chance to really grow and vibe. And then the growth of the band isn't stunted as like, okay, here's the album, now everything is out at once, and you get that, potential big wave, but then it drops off. What that Waterfall release does in today's day and age, especially for Spotify numbers, followers, attention online, it keeps it on a consistently growing basis. And I think that especially when it comes to booking, when it comes to labels, when it comes to the amount of money that gets put into there, that's something that they're looking at, because now they want to see that consistent growth. It's like a stock. It's like any kind of business. They want to see consistent growth. They don't want to see a boom or bust period where back, before streaming was really a thing, the boom or bust period wasn't as grand, because when an album came out, it would boom, but then that album could stay consistent because people were anticipating that album release. It wasn't that short attention span of so much music coming out and streaming taking away from the experience of investing in music or buying it like you would if you would have done it physically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, times have changed a lot, especially for musicians and music listeners. It became harder, let's say like this. But social media is the key to still get your music out there. As like, I think we're a great example for that. You have to be creative. You have to be like, these days, you don't have to be just a musician, but also a content creator and influencer at the same time. That's basically the best description I can give of of the point of view of the artist right now. It's you have to be more than just a musician.
You have to wear every hat that, bands like go back in time, go back to the 80s, like Motley Crue. Motley Crue just had, as the artist, they just had to focus in on the music and their crazy antics. And then everything else kind of came into fruition where, the media was covering what they were doing, and that was their content creation. That was their advertisement. Other artists, we could go back in time to the 90s when nu metal resurgence came in. There was different pieces that were really breaking through, but of course, social media coming in, streaming coming in, there is so much more noise in there, and there's so many other places for people's short attention spans to go. You have to be everywhere in order to get that market, in order to get ears on your music. And it's tougher, definitely, because even though it's easier for the listener to access music and access all kinds of music through the internet, through streaming versus what it would have been 20, 30 years ago, where finding a band that, is playing in Germany that is making great music, but because their albums are not being sold over in the US, it's so much harder for them to hear. Now I can just go online and hear, like you brought up earlier with Avalanche Effect. I could go and listen to them right now, right after this, no problem. But it makes it harder then because there's so much more music out there. There's so much more essential competition that the listeners are having to sift through. And if there's something that doesn't catch your attention right away, the listener is probably going to go back to just what they feel is comfortable to them. So it's like, it could be for me. If all of a sudden I'm listening to something and then 10 seconds in, I'm like, oh, I'm not really feeling this, I'll just go back and listen to Rise Against and call it a day. But that's not something that we as listeners should be doing to find great new music and to be in that discovery phase like you would be if you were 14 or 15 years old and always open to brand new music.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's insane how things change, and they change fast, man.
They change fast, and we're going to constantly see things continue to change. I mean, if you look at, I'm just thinking over the last, ever since I started this podcast, which would have been early 2019, of course, streaming still the big thing, but then TikTok comes into play, the pandemic hits, and then now with the explosion of everything with AI, everything is always changing at the exact same time. There's nothing that stays stagnant. There's not a period of time really where things are just consistent and artists can just find that niche in there and just ride it. You're always having to reposition yourselves given the current landscape of how music is being delivered and where attention needs to be garnered from the audience. I think the only thing that hasn't really changed completely is the connection that artists can create with fans, especially in the live setting, because it's an intimate connection. And it's just the focus is on what's in that room right then and there. The focus isn't what's everywhere else and what can be drawing your attention to different spots.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So there's one, and the other way to get attention there is by just having music that, of course, people are going to connect with, which, of course, if you listen to the brand new album by Our Mirage, Fractured Minds, when it comes out in full on January 30th, I feel like you're going to really get that. So I want to dive into the album too, because I know there's a number of songs that, of course, are out there right now, as we brought up with the Waterfall release, but there's still some that you haven't listened to yet or haven't been released. Beyond that, though, if you haven't listened to Our Mirage yet, this is a way to get into the band and get into the album. So when it came to writing everything that came into Fractured Minds and all the music that was there, what was the overall idea that you were working off of and the overall influence or motivation you had to really create the sounds you did on this album?
So, well, when it comes to the lyrics, like Our Mirage is always trying to write something that connects to people. Problems most people struggle with. It's about mental health. It's about. Sorry, my dog is a little bit. She just came to my lap here. It's about like all the things people have to struggle with on a daily basis. Like, for example, when you go to the song Time Loss, for example, it's a very personal song for me because it's about thoughts I have more often recently, because I turned 31 this year, and my parents grow older every year as well. And this song is about being scared of losing your loved ones one day and being alone in the end. And I'm really scared of losing my parents. I'm scared of losing my dog one day, and outliving all the ones you love is like a big thought in my mind right now, that I have to think about quite often. And so yeah, I think that's something a lot of people have to think about and have to face one day, you know. Um, so I wanted to write it down and bring it into a song because I think it's important to talk about, yeah, my feelings as well and my thoughts because music is like therapy for me. Writing music, writing songs is helping me to cope with my problems actually. But it can also be something positive. For example, the song "God Behind Your Eyes" is the first love song I've ever written in my whole life. But that's because I wrote this song as a proposal to my back then girlfriend, now fiance. It's yeah, I sang the song to her and described how I feel about her and how much I love her, and that's how I proposed by performing the song to her. And she said yes, of course. I mean that's also a special thing. But yeah, I mean the whole music and the whole album is just basically what goes on in my head and what I feel like and what I want to write about is it's just like my um yeah, things I have to deal with every day. Yeah.
So just from listening through the album, it was a lot of the production ideas or the like programming ideas you ended up interjecting in a lot of these songs really brought that forward in my mind because it created this at times, a lot of times, ambient feel to the heaviness that was there. So it brought in a lot of introspection, a lot of inner focus and inner reflection on wherever the song was going in. When some of the softer side of things, or sometimes when you're using your clean vocals, or sometimes they have a little more of a breathy tone to it, you're kind of being able to take that step back, or where they're more anthemic and a little more melodic, you're able to take that step back and really get a further understanding. But when everything gets a little bit more rough, a little bit more on that metalcore side, aggressive, some of those unclean vocals, especially some of the growls that are in there, you're letting that emotion really come out in full force with aggression, with anger. And it stands out to really have this feeling of you're really going through this album as a way of inner reflection of everything that you're going through. And I think all 10
Absolutely.
songs really prove that. When you brought up time loss and you said, you turned 31 in 2025 and you're thinking about, what's going to happen when you lose the people around you eventually, you're kind of scared me a little bit because I turned 31 in 2025 too. And I haven't even thought about that, but I typically see my parents all the time. I see a lot of my friends and family a good amount, so it hasn't really stuck in my mind. But
Mhm.
I know when that time is going to come, it's going to be, oh shit! Like, did I spend enough time with them? Did I do enough? All of that kind of comes into play. And what really makes it an interesting piece is I brought up it has that like EDM type feel. But then there's also a lot of aggressiveness in the song as well that's going back and forth. So you're seeing this positiveness that's in the song still, but you're also seeing this aggression of trying to wrestle with those thoughts. I do specifically want
Absolutely.
to bring up God Behind Your Eyes, though, because it was something that is much, much different on the album compared to any other song. And by you saying it's a love song that you wrote for your girlfriend at the time, now fiance, again, congratulations, Timo. It
Thank
was
you very
something
much.
that stood out as a complete 180 on the album. I wasn't expecting you to go that route at all. However, I'm looking at what I wrote down for it, and I thought it was a fantastic choice for you guys to put it on this album and not only do that, but create the song the way you did. I think the instrumentals that were put on this deserve a lot of credit because they set this overall mood and tone for the song that there might be something greater that's inside you, but it's also for the love of another person. And I really
Absolutely.
picked up on that. But the vocals and the control that you had, the fluttering in the verses that had this nervousness feel to it, the passion and calmness in the chorus that connects when you finally find your peace within a person, and then the full-on expression in the bridge. I thought it showed your vocally, especially from the clean side, at your best. This song makes you think of the one you love, and if you miss them, please, for the love of God, call them now or call them after you're done watching and listening to this episode because it makes you feel like you really want to talk to the person that you love the most.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for your nice words about the song, man. Um, yeah, but I think you're describing a really important part of the album. You said something with emotions, and if you think about music, um, what is music other than emotions. I mean, just watch a movie without music. You miss all the emotions. Like if a scene is like super sad, you hear sad music, which makes you feel a certain way. But if you watch it, without the music, it's not gonna hit you, you know? And I think music is the best way to express emotions to other people. And
Mhm.
if I want the listener to feel what I feel when I recorded it, when I wrote the song, what I had on mind, um, then the song is doing exactly what it needs to do, you know? Um, and I think that's something what separates, I guess, a more professional band from a local band is because like more professional bands are going to carry the emotion in the perfect way, you know, and make you feel a certain way. But and then you have local bands that just start up. They haven't really nailed that yet. But as soon as they do, as soon as they can carry the emotions in the music, I think they're ready to go the next step. You know, and yeah, man, emotions is basically music brought to your ear.
For any artists that are trying to, make sure you're making sure that you're going to, achieve your dreams, hit big, achieve those goals, I think, Timo, what you just said might be the most important thing that they can hear, because
Absolutely.
I think about it as well when it comes to artists that I bring on the podcast, I bring on the show, and the ones that are really hitting it big, and then the local ones that I want to see it hit big, and the local ones that I want to see it hit big. And then when they finally do, it's okay, what's the reason they did that? And it's whatever song they're creating that's going to evoke an emotion. It's going to carry that emotion throughout, because when we listen to music, it does create this connectiveness on, we might not be able to explain the emotion we're feeling. Hell, because we went through something completely different, so we don't know exactly how that all relates. But when we listen to that sound connects to us, so we can put our own self into that song, our own
Absolutely.
story into it, but it emotionally guides us through the entire thing. If we listen to, like we just brought up with God Behind Your Eyes, what you were singing about there and the love that you had there, I picked up on that, and it carried the entire way through. It was really easy for me after that song to pick up the phone and call my girlfriend right afterwards, because I felt it was like a necessary thing to do, just based on the way the emotion connected. And artists that are consistently getting larger and larger, there's something about the tone and something about the idea of what they're creating that carries that emotion throughout and connects with so many other people. The
Absolutely.
local artists that are trying to make it happen, I'll be honest with you, you see a lot of artists that do it, but there's so many more that aren't doing it. So it's a hard concept to grasp. But
Yeah.
what I believe it takes is a lot of introspection, a lot of personal reflection, and a lot of understanding of, okay, whatever you're trying to write about, there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of heaviness that might be in there. It might be lighter, it might be more fun. But when you're creating a song and you're creating an overall sound for that song, how can you carry that emotion throughout? Maybe it's not going to be the exact way that, in your mind, it's like, oh, well, this piece doesn't go here, but emotionally, is it fitting? Let it ride. Let's see what happens, because then you're going to get something that has all of that emotion pouring out. You're going to get something that has all of that sadness, maybe some of that depression and angst, that yearning for more that comes out. Or you could have something that just evokes this fun, lighthearted, overall, this is an amazing time, and let's just roll with it. So many great
Exactly.
bands are doing that, and it all depends upon what emotion you're trying to pick up on, what kind of story you're trying to tell, and with your sound, how are you decorating the time around it? Because if you can decorate that time with that soundscape, whatever it might be, and carry that emotion throughout, that's going to be a song that people pick up on in a live setting. People pick up when they hear it online, and they
Absolutely.
just drive more closely to it.
Yeah. I mean, what you just said, like when a song like can hype you up, a song can bring you down,
Mm.
a song can maybe help you cope with a hard situation or whatsoever. Um, I mean, just listen to Electric Callboy,
Mhm.
their song Hyper Hyper when they went viral with it. that song just brings up energy. You just want to dance, and you're like, hell yeah, let's go. I want to jump. I want to party. I want to dance. Whatever. That's also like emotions you feel when you when you rise up. It gets you hyped up. It's pumped up. You want to move and everything. And that's also like in dance music. It's exactly the same. Like if you feel like dancing, they hit it right.
Oh, yeah. Electric Callboy is a great example. I was even going to throw in Lorna Shore in there for a different reason, because it's aggressive. It's deathcore. There's a lot of growls behind it, but you feel like there's something so much greater that's going to be coming to you beyond that, because of how they tie in so many of those orchestral, anthemic, and theatrical vibes that coat so many of those songs. Listen to Sun Eater, or listen to I think it's Glenview too. There's so many different pieces in there that just make you feel so different and such a heavy sound. And it's all based on how they're able to take this heaviness, the orchestral pieces they put in there, and hit on that emotion. Electric Callboy, again, great example as well. The different weird things that Sleep Token is doing connects with the inner soul of so many people. And that's why it's so enthralling for so many people to get into, even when it sounds like nothing you've really ever heard.
Absolutely.
It's capturing that emotion, decorating it in the way that you guys can decorate it to express it to us, but at the same time carrying that emotion all the way throughout. It's gonna be the thing that takes an artist from staying in that local side of things to all of a sudden now you're starting to see yourself grow. You're starting to see yourself get into other spaces. You're starting to see yourself maybe get in on tour with bands that are going to not take you out of just the region of the world that you're in, or out of the region of the country that you're in. If you're in Europe, take you all across the continent. If you're in the US, instead of staying in the few cities that you're always going to, taking you nationwide. That's where it comes in. And then it's earned because it's the music that you're creating. It's the product. It's not anything oh, it's because they went big on TikTok.
Yeah, but if they surely our video, it had like a different catcher with the guy climbing up the stage, but hey, sorry, my dog is whining. But I mean, if the song Don't Talk didn't carry the emotions right, then the song probably wouldn't have performed this well. Like, the people would watch the video and say, cool video, but then it wouldn't translate over to Spotify or social media, you know? But just stay on the video. Yeah. Great example is also Bad Omens. I mean, listen to the latest tracks. Do you feel loved? Man, that song. Oh, it hits just right, you know? It's they nailed it too, and like, get your emotions right in your music if you're writing music. I mean, just, you can check it yourself. If your music is hitting you at the right spot, and you just listen to it on a unbiased in an unbiased situation where you're like, haven't listened to the song in a long time, and then just listen to the song back after a week after you wrote it, and then you have to ask yourself, does it translate the emotions right? Send it to your friends, whatever, and they say it. Like, when I sent God Behind Your Eyes to one of my best friends for the first time, he sent me a voice message back after he listened to the song. Was like, dude, I had to grab my girlfriend, and we hugged each other for the whole 5 minutes of the song, and we were cuddling and dancing at the same time in our living room. Man, that song is amazing. It's exactly what it needs to be. Yeah. And at that moment I knew that was right. So just send it to your friends if you're working on music, and ask them for an honest opinion, a really honest opinion, not because it's your friend he is going to say what you want to hear, but be honest to your friends and be honest to yourself, especially. Yeah.
I mean, that's as good of a sign off on you're hitting the right emotions if your friend has to grab his girlfriend and dance with her the entire 5 minutes of the song, because he is just enthralled so much in the emotion that's what he feels is necessary. I mean, I told you right after I heard, I'm like, shoot, I got to call her right now, because it is connecting in that way. impeccable. But also what you brought up too when it comes to the viral moments, it's, it's great because that's where you can get the initial attention, especially in a short attention span world. It's something that is on the surface that people are able to grab. But the reason why artists that get those viral moments end up staying and end up growing a lot based off that is because what's at the core of it, which is the music, is something that continues to drive you forward because it has that connective emotion. There have been plenty of times, especially online, that I've seen bands have a moment where they go viral because of a cool breakdown or a call out of something that just stands out in a different way. But then they just end up not capitalizing on it. And I keep wondering, there's got to be a consistent theme. And I always would go back to, it's the song itself that's not keeping their attention, because when people listen to it, they're like, I'm just either waiting for that moment or I want to back out. It not only happens in rock and metal, it happens in any genre.
Yes.
Pop is a great example of that, because there are artists where they have a moment, a song, just different beat that goes viral. Everyone gets on top of it. Then they go and play like a huge music festival and no one really shows up because it's only that one moment that they care about. It's nothing else. And when an artist is able to get, like, okay, you get that great moment, but all of a sudden you listen to the song and it garners your attention, it keeps people in it because the emotion is so enthralling. Now that's where that growth happens. And rock and metal, I think, has the best way to show that, because we've seen so many artists, especially in the last 5 years, not only grab that attention in that initial stage, but hold on to that attention because the focus on the product of the music and the emotional storytelling that really grabs people and holds them in with a vice grip, it's much more consistent than in other genres.
Absolutely. Man, what you just said with the moment that everyone cares about, but the rest of the song is shit. I've had that many times. I was like on TikTok, I found like a really cool part of a song. I was like, oh damn, I need to listen to that song on Spotify. Went over, I was like, is that the song? And then I skipped through it and was like, oh yeah, there's the moment. But the rest of the song is really disappointing. So, and then, so best would be if the viral moment would be the chorus, like the heart of the song, which comes like 3 or 4 times in the song. And then you're like, yes, okay, I get what I hear what I came for, but if you just have like a breakdown call out and the beginning of the breakdown is cool, but the rest of the song is not attaching you like on an emotional level, and you just skip it away and like, yeah, cool part of the song, but never gonna listen to that again. You just scroll, like if you stumble over it on TikTok again, you're like, oh, nice, cool, but then you swipe it away and that's everything. But yeah. Man, we could talk about this for hours. It's crazy.
We could go on for this for hours, especially for you working on mixing, mastering, and producing other artists' music as well. I think not only that, but just the idea of this conversation, what we're talking about, just this thought and this idea behind what makes music connect and what takes a band from a local band to, something that's a lot more prominent. I think it's going to potentially help you out with all the artists you work with too, just because you guys have seen that success when it comes to that moment. But not only that, but you're seeing that success continue to roll and continue to, stay consistent just because the music is connecting in that emotional side. So when you're working with other artists too, you can look back and say, okay, when you're listening to this, okay, what's the emotion that's coming here? Is it catching me? All right, okay, now you have a cool moment here, but when you're actually listening to the song as a just a music listener's perspective, am I just waiting for that one moment? Or is it something where I am so excited to get to that moment because the rest of the song is keeping me enthralled so that when that moment finally hits, not only is it more impactful than it was on the initial time I heard it or on that initial video, but it's something that takes the song into a whole different level and really connects not only in the listening setting, but is in the live setting. Is it going to translate over? I've had artists on the podcast too where I keep looking at their stuff and it's like, okay, I'm seeing these different TikToks and everything, or these different Instagram reels where, okay, I'm seeing the same viral thing that you guys went viral on, but this is 3-4 years old, but it's the same call out to the same song. And I haven't seen anything else from you guys because nothing has hit emotionally or nothing has kept my emotional attention beyond just that one surface level moment.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Man, it's it's tough, I guess. Like I'm also a little bit scared of the future, like what comes after the album, because we had that moment, but we have to keep up the social media quality and still maintain good videos, possible new viral videos and shit. I'm a little bit scared that I won't be able to recreate such a viral moment again, but I'm sure I can do that somehow. And it's pressure that's been building up since then, definitely. But yeah.
But let me ask you this. Would you rather have the pressure of, okay, we got to keep it going and we have to keep this rolling. We have to figure out how to make sure we don't lose out on everything that we're gaining. Or would you rather have the pressure of, we're not getting anything. How do we even get started?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you got a point. Yeah, I definitely would keep the first one then.
Yeah, it's just a matter of perspective on that end.
Yeah, that's true.
But also, Timo, before we wrap this up, I got two other questions I really want to get into before we go. Not very deep, but we'll of course go for it. First one is, now that we're into 2026, and of course with Fractured Minds coming out in full on January 30th, I know you're also doing a co-headliner with Elwood Stray at the start of 2026, which also coincides with the full release of the album as well. What else do you got on tap for us in 2026 with whatever you're able to let us know, or just tease a little bit? Always curious to hear what's going to come next.
Well, I've kind of teased it a little bit already. Like what's coming after the album. I'm already writing on album number 5. It's I'm already 4 songs in. 4 songs are already done. It's going to be nice, definitely. Like we have some other genre influences here and there. For example, I'm just gonna spoil a little bit. I had the idea of creating a full-on Chainsmokers song, but then instead of dropping into an EDM drop whatsoever, you just go into something more metal. Let's say like this. It's crazy. It's like a super interesting song. I've showed it already to management, some friends, and label, of course, because I need to see the reactions and get the reactions. And everyone's like, "Whoa, damn, that song is crazy! Probably one of the best songs I've heard in years." So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, like new songs are coming, and I'm sure 2026 is going to be the year where already a new song is dropping after the album, like from album number 5. I'm sure.
Well, with the Waterfall type release, we might already be getting it, but the best thing we can do is just be ready for it, be in anticipation of it. And for my own, selfish wants and desires, hoping that at some point later in 2026 that there is somehow, some way, Our Mirage tours in the United States.
Man, I hope so. It became a little bit more complicated with what's happening in the US right now. Let's say like this. But we are definitely working on that. But yeah, as a European band, it's going to be a lot more problematic when it comes to money. It's definitely more expensive. It became more expensive. And that's something you always have to keep on mind for sure, that you're not going in depth just to tour somewhere. Our booking agency and our label is always on the artist side and say like, don't go broke just for a tour. So yeah, they're always trying their best to support us when it comes to that. But we are on it. As soon as we can afford it, we are coming over and play shows in the US.
Perfect, because one thing I always love to do is whenever I see artists, especially from outside the U.S. that come to the U.S., if I get a chance to see them, not only do I want to see them, but support them, and then, of course, pick up a piece of merch or two. Hence why I've got the Future Palace shirt on when they showed up in the U.S. in September of 2025. I'm like, yeah, I got to go see them. I got to go support them. There was only one crowd surfer the entire time of that show that I saw them at. And it wasn't by, choice. My friends threw me up there, but it was fun. But hey, got to prove it. And hopefully, in 2026, we can add an Our Mirage shirt that I can buy in person to the overall collection.
Yeah, looking forward to it, man. Would love to meet you in person.
We'll have to make it happen. But Timo, it's time for my final
Definitely.
question before we wrap this up. I asked you this in 2024 with Alleviate to wrap up the episode. I'm going to ask you again. And of course, it's a way for us to get to know more music and for you to get support the music you love. We'll limit it to 3 once again. But can you name me 3 more bands or artists that you love that you would love to see more people get into right now?
Well, I told you the first one, which is called Avalanche Effect. That's the first one. It's a great band from Germany. Um, then there's a band called Chiffre. That's the German word for cipher. But their music is in English, and they also have a song which is called Cipher, which is funny. But their music is great. They have everything for real. It's like they have rapping in there. They have great poppy vocals. They have heavy screams. They have super low-tuned guitars. It has everything for real. And the dude has an amazing voice. You should definitely check them out. And another band you definitely have to check out. Let's say Malfoy. Not written like the dude from Harry Potter, but it's pronounced the same way. It's Maelfoy. Yeah. So, and these guys are amazing. They have a really nice vocalist who is he has like a really country music like voice, let's say like this. He also listens a lot to country music, and they have also a big influence from bluegrass and country music. So if you're into that, you definitely should check that out. They're a great band. Malfoy.
Alrighty, we got 3 great ones and 3 new ones too that not only are brand new to me, but also I know have never ever been said during that question. So this is fantastic. This is awesome. Now, Timo, we got to wrap this up, and I do want to thank you for taking the time once again today.
Of course.
This is going to be a hard one to beat, especially at the beginning of the year, because this was as deep and insightful as I could have possibly imagined in the most fun way. So when it comes to any episode in 2026, it is going to be nearly impossible to beat what we just did today. So I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to get into Our Mirage. I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to listen to the entirety of Fractured Minds when it comes out, and of course, check out what's going to be happening with Our Mirage throughout the rest of 2026 and beyond. And here's how that's going to happen. Please go to the description of the podcast below. Links and labels for everything are going to be there, from where you can find them online, social media wise, YouTube, where you can check out all those viral videos, and the next ones are going to come where you can listen to music, stream it, where you can see them live, and of course where you can go and pick up some merch, support them as well, and get a physical copy of the album, because that's always a great thing to do. So go and do that. It's all down there for you. I'm doing all the work. Do not let me down, and go and follow them. Now it's time for number 2. When I had you on, when we were talking about the last Alleviate album, I made you a promise that said, when I get to perform live for the first time, I will come and find you, say hello to you, and first round's on me. Well, this is the second time I've had you on. However, we have not seen you play live yet, so I'm going to have to take that 1 and make it 2.
Fuck yeah. Let's go. That sounds great.
Hey, it just, all I can say is I got to probably save up now, because by the time you guys come over, I've got a feeling it'll be with a bunch of other bands I've owed drinks to. I'll be like, oh dear God, this is going to be an expensive night, but worth it.
Nice. Yeah, it's definitely going to be worth it.
Oh, it's going to be absolutely worth it. Now it's time for number 3. Timo, we can end this by saying goodbye, because that is way too final. This is your second time on the podcast, and I'm already looking forward to the third time we get to do this. Beyond that, though, I'm looking forward to when we actually get to see you perform live for the first time and make good on that promise as well. So goodbye is way too final, man. I got to say it once again. I'll see you later.
See you later, man.
Well, folks, this is my interview with Timo from Our Mirage. Now it's time for Kevin's final thought. I'm not kidding you. This was an episode where I am still, to this day, baffled by with how in-depth we went and how just mind-opening and enlightening it was. Enlightening. Not enlightening like, but enlightening like, mostly because we have talked on this podcast plenty of times about like how art decorates space and music decorates time. Music decorates time through emotion. And when we talk about emotion, when you look through the entirety of Fractured Minds, especially when we talk about stuff like Timo Has and, of course, God Behind Your Eyes, there is so much emotion that is being carried through those songs that really connect with you on a completely new basis. But when Timo brought up about what makes artists, when it comes to their music, what makes it catch on, what makes them stand out, and what makes sure that, they go beyond just that one viral moment or go beyond just the local scene, is how they carry that emotion through a song and how that emotion retains you through a storytelling mode. Because think about all the artists that have been popping off ever since the beginning of the 2020s. Electric Callboy, when he brought up Hype as an example, they capture that emotion of fun, energy, and they keep it going. And they don't let it go. And as a fan, you don't let it go and you feel it in a completely different way. And it's so much fun. Bad Omens did a great job with this on Just Pretend. That's why it was a hit. That's why Death of Peace of Mind as an overall album was a hit, because so many songs had that and it continues to grow on. Bring Me the Horizon's great at that, as well as so many different styles and genres. Sleep Token, with what they've done with a completely different style, has engrossed so many people because the emotional storytelling that stays on. On the aggressive side, Make Them Suffer is really good at this. Knocked Loose, even in a hardcore style, is incredible at this. They keep that emotion, they keep that flow, and they keep you wanting more. It's when it comes to music, and it's not about trying to get people to like, it's about you telling that story and you carrying that emotion through your sound and connecting with people through that. And how Timo put it too, it's like, write it, complete it, wait a week, listen to it again. Is that emotion carrying over? It needs to, in order to be something that is going to take you from just being local to achieving your dreams. I want to thank Timo once again for coming to the podcast. When it comes to Our Mirage, please go to the podcast below, links for everything to find them online, listen to the brand new album, find them playing live, and get some merch are down there. Please also follow along, listen to the Chord Progression Podcast. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, links to the podcast below. Hit the subscribe button if you're right down here on YouTube. Hit the subscribe or follow button if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Helps us out a lot. Please also like these episodes, well, especially this one, because this is one of our favorite episodes of all time. This is one of my favorite episodes of all time, and I don't want people to miss out on it. So also, put in a comment in there what you thought about this, especially on the emotional storytelling part and the emotional music part. Do you think that is legit or not, or any other part of the episode? Let me know. Want to thank Timo for coming back on the podcast. Dude, this was incredible. Always a great time. And that's going to be me. Thank you very much for listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one of these episodes. Big, healthy, and hearty. See y'all. Yeah.